Hello YouTubers, got a couple things going on in this. It's going to be hopefully a quick movie, but none of mine seem to be. So one gentleman asked me about the my log turner, or my railroad jack that I use, a log turner. I'm going to show what I did with this and how it works. I took the foot off of it. Basically, this just comes off pretty easy with a bolt. That's the way they are. And I made this piece here, just cut it, and that's what bites in the log and turns it over. And then if I need it for a railroad jack, I can put it back for a railroad jack. So that's how that works. This is also what they call a quick down jack. So it's one lever and it goes down all the way. It doesn't. You can ratchet it down, but the railroad company, they wanted it to go down fast because going down was time consuming too. So it was go down fast. So it's a quick drop one. Next thing I want to hit up on you is this log over here. I can't get back any further. This is the board off of that one I cut yesterday. I left it on the mill because the sawdust drag broke, and that wasn't too bad. I lost the key in the sawdust and couldn't hear it with a metal detector because they were shooting too much next door. So I went up the house and made it. It was a 1/4 inch at the top, 3/16 at the bottom, moon shaped. So it was a stepped key and it was moon shaped, so it didn't take very long to fix it, to make one. And then by the time I got it back here and got it in, then I ran the metal detector over and got the old one, so it's good. Now I got a spare. This is what I'm showing you for two reasons. A couple people keep asking, why do you I guess plane the wood or go down. Like if this was in the middle this way, you go down and take a quick slice off of it. Well, you do it because the boards bend and warp so much, so fast, and they have tension in them. This board here was cut, and then by the time I got on there, look. Now the beds are level, but look at the wobble in this. This is how quick they. And that's 1/4 inch. Now that doesn't mean too much, but one of those boards over there I just cut, or it's totally junk because I didn't face it. I don't know if I can get in on it. It's getting dark and all that stuff. There's one of them over there it's inch at the top and it's 1/2 inch at the bottom because I didn't face it. It didn't make a true board, and that was a dumb, stupid mistake. What caused the dumb, stupid mistake is what I'm going to get into next. Everybody keeps saying stuff. I'm going to swing you around again about this shaft. You're walking over this shaft. You're walking over this shaft. You're walking over this shaft. So I'm going to talk a little bit about sawmill safety or lack of safety. If you're looking to get a saw, that blade's moving at 10,000 feet per minute. That's over 100 miles an hour. Each and every one of these little tips here can fly off. There's nothing bolting it on. It's just tension that holds it on. If you hit something in the log that's solid, one of those teeth could come out, and it's going to come out like a bullet, just about. A bullet's moving 48. It might be faster than a bullet. Somebody could do the math on that. If you go into most sawmill buildings in the daytime, look up the roof. Looks like you're in a planetarium. Stuff comes flying off that blade all the time. That's a concern. It comes off where at the speed that if you have safety glasses on, they're just going to soften the blow a little bit. 90% of the stuff's going to get taken out, but a lot of the dust whirls underneath the safety glasses. So that's one concern. Another concern, let's see if I can get you down here, is this cable. See the cable down there? There's a cable that goes in and out. If that breaks, you're in deep trouble because it can get tangled up in the blade, and if that happens, I would just run. Just as soon as you see that cable let loose, you just get the heck out of there. Let's see, I got a list of things that I wanted to go over. Slips, trips, and falls. The sharpening blade spinning around. Mine's moving at 670 RPM, so it's somewhere around a 10,000 foot per minute thing. The cables, the second thing I want to talk about. That's real dangerous. The dog's coming down. Here, I'll show you. We went over the dogs. If you're not paying attention when that comes down, if you have your finger under that, it'll just about break your finger off. That hurts. I've done it and it bleeds. So that's another concern. Okay. The dogs, if you have a log that doesn't dog in real good and it's shaking, you don't have a king dog or something like that, or the master dog or whatever that comes down, holds it, and that board let loose, that could really be a catastrophe. That's one thing. The another thing, if you have an automatic mill, maybe a mouse got in there and chewed your wires, and you're going halfway down, and all of a sudden the vibration pulls a set on that mill. That could be a catastrophe. You got these moving belts down here. You got these moving belts here, which are dangerous, but not too bad. You got those over there, which that worries me probably more than just about anything. It worries me a lot more than that thing. Now I'll go back over here. When you are doing your trims, you're pushing it in. You're pushing these in with your leg a lot of time, and you might have a stack of boards in there. When you drop that dog down in there, I have more injuries on my leg from those pinching. That's why a lot of times I just trim one log at a time. Moving belts, V-belts, we got that. Bearing failure, you got 3 bearings on this thing that can fail. I was just talking to one guy on the phone. You have a yoke right there. We're running out of light. Let me see if I can get a little light on in here. Maybe it'll help some. You have a yoke right here that holds that bearing in place. I hope I got that in there. Okay, if that thing lets loose, and I was just talking to a guy that called me from, I think it was South Carolina, and he had one of those break on him. And, you know, you're looking at catastrophic failure there. So, you know, that's another issue. Let's see, the bearing failure, stuff on the logs. You know, if you don't, we're not running debarkers on these old mills, and you'll get dirt and stuff in these things, and rocks and stuff, because you dragged it through the woods getting it out. You hit that stuff, and that's pretty dangerous. And just other stuff you hit inside a log. Okay, if you're going through, a buddy of mine was sawing and he hit an insulator and it stopped his carriage dead, just right there, and it was pretty bad. Another thing that is pretty, you don't think much about it, but the ends of logs, okay? If you got a crappy end on a log, I don't know if, I think this is zoomed in right now. That's why I generally cut these off flush so I don't have any crappy ends along, because they shoot like rockets. You get to the ends of these. Now we'll get into the next thing. I don't wear ear protection, okay? Probably should. I'm half deaf now. Can't hear half of what my wife talks to me about. Ear protection. I don't wear ear protection. I don't know if I'm in the camera or not. I don't wear ear protection. The reason I don't wear ear protection is because I want to hear what's going on in the mill when I'm sawing. Okay, I'm trying to see. I like to be, maybe I can get in the picture. I like to hear what's going on in the motor, hear what's going on in the hitting stuff. And if I got ear protection on, I can't hear any of that stuff. It's muted to where you might hit something, not even know it, or you might have a bearing failure and not even know it. And so I don't wear ear protection. I wear eye protection. I still get a lot of stuff in my eyes, okay? When I was young, everybody told me put eye protection on, put eye protection on, when I'm working metal. I put a full face mask on, and within a week I was in the hospital having metal removed from my eyes with a full face mask on. The goggles don't, it got you. So accidents happen irregardless. The end of the logs we went over, the noise, I don't wear ear protection so I can hear what my engine's doing, which you could probably hear that even with ear protection on. And but I can hear when I strike something in the log. I can hear a bearing failure. When they started putting cabs on tractors to make farmers a lot more comfortable, the amount of repairs to tractors that were catastrophic probably doubled, because the guy was in there with the air conditioner on, the radio on. He couldn't hear anything that was going on around him at all anymore, and consequently he'd have something go kaput. I mean, the guy was out rolling hay in my front yard out there, and he didn't know he lost a bearing on the thing, and he's going up, and when he came back he ran through a bunch of smoke because the bearing caught the bale of hay on fire and he had to dump the bale out. Had he not been in an air conditioned closed cab with a radio on, he probably would have heard the bearing failure. Don't know. Engine blow up. That thing's running running at, I don't know, 1800 RPM. Just a dangerous thing. The engine could just blow up and fly parts everywhere. Safety glasses and masks. If you go to any wood shop, everybody's wearing a face mask. That's good. I think it's good because the sawdust will kill you too. But if I put a mask on, a respirator on, and all that kind of stuff on when I'm sawing creosote telephone poles. Most of the time, other than that, I don't. And yeah, my nose fills up with more sawdust, and I'll be spitting sawdust for who knows how long. When I put a mask on, my goggles always fog up. And I've bought anti-fog goggles. I've bought everything you could do. You know, you like when you go scuba diving, you put a little spit in there and it keeps them from fogging up. They still fog up, so I don't wear that. So basically what I'm getting to is just, if you're looking for safety and worried about that shaft, that's the least of my problems. There's so many other areas here that I'm worried about. But I'll tell you what another concern is. Just today, like I was saying about this log earlier, that you know it's rocking like it's rocking like a boat. The reason I missed that cut is because my neighbors came down and I lost my concentration. As soon as you lose your concentration and you forget one little thing, or you get out of your order of things. I work by myself all the time, so I just have, okay, I go here and do this, now I go here and do this, now I gotta go do this, and now I gotta go do this. When the neighbors came down, I had two of them actually came down, I lost my concentration where I was at. That's probably the biggest reason that you have a screw up on the mill. And another thing which nobody has even mentioned, okay, and if you know sawmills, I'm going to focus in on it, okay? There's two things that are really, really unsafe, okay? The biggest thing is, I hope you can see it, is not having these rollers. And the other thing would be not having this splitter. If the most, I go out and look at sawmills all over the time that are selling every place and stuff like that. And just about every sawmill that I get that's for sale, I would say that 50% of them are because somebody was killed on them. Okay? How they were killed was a board coming down on that saw blade. Okay? A board coming down on the saw blade. Okay? It's either gonna cut that board, or it's gonna throw that board like a kickback on a table saw. Okay? That's what killed more people and injured more people on these sawmills than anything else. And I know of at least a dozen or better people that were, I don't know the people, but when I went to look at the sawmills, were killed because of that. Mine caught a board one time, and the guy that mentored me and told me what to do, he says, just hit the deck, just hit the deck. It was about a 10-foot long, 10-inch wide poplar. And it flew, after I looked up and I couldn't find it, it flew all the way up there and it hit that tree right there. And that board is still sitting in that tree from 20 years ago, unless it's rotted down. I haven't looked for it lately. Every now and then, I left it up there as a reminder that that thing can take your head off. Just that simple, take your head off. So if you ever, and the sawyer's position is the one that's going to get hurt, or anybody that's sitting, you know, if you go to these steam shows or a lot of shows, you'll see great big tall splitters you'll see splitters come up like this and weave around like that, and that whole purpose is to keep a board from touching that blade and launching it that way. It'll launch just like a rocket. There's nothing you can do about it, except for, like that guy said, you just fall down to the ground and hit the dirt. And I looked up and that board was gone. So anyhow, we're getting rambling on, and this short movie became too long. So keep your concentration. I guess I'll show one more thing, and see if it shows up. That's the shaft. I'm gonna turn the sawmill on and put a rag on there and show you. It's really not that catchy. So put on your ears, and it's only gonna be a minute or so. If I can remember how it started. Mill together, I had a thin wall aluminum irrigation pipe over that, and after about the third or fourth time I tripped over that because it made it just enough higher that it was off my game, and after about the third or fourth time that thing got launched, and I haven't had it on there since. It's been this way now for 20-25 years, so don't worry about that. This one's getting long enough, but I'm not going to make a movie the next couple days, I don't think, because it's going to be raining here, and I got a lot of work to do to get closed up before the rain comes in. So over and out for today.